let's take a little fantasy dip, shall we? You know, it's been a while since we've seen the most miserable man on the internet, Greg Kelly, who awkwardly often starts his segments with this same, like pantomiming this same clip. I don't know why he thinks it. I mean, they must get letters about it. Where people are like, I love it, Greg. When you do that thing, it's so great. It's so great.
All I can say,
right? You know what I'm talking about? This bullshit.
Is that the fake news just doesn't get it, do they?
And the fake news, they are swooning for the new White House press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre. That's her name. They gave her
yes, it is.
A great big party.
Cool it with the Karine hype. Look, we get it. She's a black lady. You guys like those. All right, but the rest of us don't have to.
And they said goodbye to Jen Psaki last week, but somehow Jen Psaki is still there. I don't know what the heck's going on when she actually takes over. But the new girl, Karine Jean-Pierre, she seems very sweet when you meet her. She seems very nice.
But clearly that means she's a baby eater.
You know, but you listen to the stuff she says and the stuff she's tweeted. She's nasty. She's horrible. Take a look at this. Stolen emails, stolen drones, stolen election. Welcome to the world of unprecedented Trump. That's...
Before our nation takes something of ours, should we let them keep it? That was a reference to a specific... That was that drone that went... Hold on. When was this? Okay, 2016. Yeah. Whoops. It was Iran, I think, wasn't it? Or Afghan? I forget. It's been a while. Stolen drone. Yeah. Yeah, there you go. This was the underwater U.S. drone that was seized by China that people were referencing. This is December 16th. China to return seized U.S. drone, says Washington is hyping up incident. China will return an underwater U.S. drone seized by a naval vessel this week in the South China Sea. Both countries said Saturday, but Beijing complained that Washington had been hyping it up. U.S. President-elect Donald Trump, who has vowed to take an aggressive approach in dealing with China over economic, military, jumped on the unusual drone seizure with a pair of provocative tweets accusing Beijing of stealing the equipment. Through direct engagement, blah, blah, blah. They came, and that was before he came back. All right. That's what she's referencing. Oop.
December 17th of 2016.
Yeah, she was referencing Trump's statements.
See, it's okay when they say the election was stolen, right? Next, reminder, Brian Kemp's.
Well, I will say that, yes, you have a freedom of speech, but once you start instigating violence... See, there was at no point did Karine Jean-Pierre participate in a march on the Capitol that turned violent and tried to stop the peaceful transfer of power. That's the freedom of speech thing.
Stole the gubernatorial election from Georgians and Stacey Abrams. Okay, yeah. It's okay when the left says it, especially somebody like Karine Jean-Pierre. She can go on talk shows and be as crazy and wild as she wants.
You're just upset, Greg, that no one wants you on their talk show? Maybe there's a talk show that takes place on a bus.
Because she's woke and she's left. And, oh, by the way, she's black and a lesbian.
Yes, that's what it is. It's that damn black lesbian favoritism. Again. Denying people like Greg Kelly their seat at the table.
I don't care, but she does.
Apparently you do.
Makes it a big deal. Anyway, here she is.
Why is it a big deal? Oh, she brings it up. And you judge what another person thinks is a big deal based on your discomfort at them bringing it up.
Is being mean.
The president has the temperament of a toddler and the mind of a white supremacist. He knows that he's emboldening racist and bigots.
A white man with all of his privilege comes on stage and steps into our personal space. Donald Trump's racism.
Yeah, he did. What's the question here?
is a toxic and dangerous brew. We've known Donald Trump has been a racist for a very long time. That is not surprising. When you
look at those protests, Joy, of those folks who want to take over the Capitol because they want to reopen the government, they're mostly white men, and they're mostly angry, and they have so much hate.
Oh, those white men. We can't stand those white men.
Well, no, it's not that white men are the problem. It's that group is made up of a specific group of white men who feel like they've been disenfranchised, so they are bullshitting themselves. It's not all white men. It's just the guys like you, Greg.
You know, racist, it used to mean something, right? Horrible.
Yes, yes, Greg, and people would say it about you, and you take it as a badge of honor.
Horrible thing. But now, anybody you disagree with is a racist. And let me show you Donald Trump.
Well, no, I mean, obviously, I'm not going to want to, you know, if everybody in the house wants fish and I don't, I'm not going to start throwing around racism.
The racist getting a civil rights award, a civil rights award with Rosa Parks and Muhammad Ali. They will say anything about you once you go.
Wait a minute, because that organization put them together. And by the way, how do we know he didn't walk up on that fucking stage and just take one like he did at that cancer charity where he wasn't actually a benefactor, but he walked up and sat on stage as if he was?
Go into politics. But again, what's her name here? Karine Jean-Pierre, she's right. She's got so much going for her, right? She's left, she's woke, she's black, and she's a lesbian. Again, not a big deal to me.
You keep bringing it up. It feels like it is.
But the mainstream media can't stop talking about it.
Neither can you. You've mentioned it more than anyone I have watched.
We also would like to congratulate Karine Jean-Pierre, who is making so much history by becoming the newest White House press secretary.
History is being made at the White House.
Wait a minute. She didn't bring up that she was black or a lesbian. What, we're supposed to just assume?
With the announcement of a new press secretary, Karine Jean-Pierre is the first black woman and the first openly gay person to take on that role.
Karine.
Now I'm starting to understand why they keep bringing it up. Because she's the first. You know, it's kind of like Greg Kelly bringing up the last time he had sex.
Jean-Pierre will be the next press secretary, becoming the first black person and first openly LGBTQ person to serve as White House press secretary.
International headlines because she has this job. Identity politics, the left.
What, were you just barfing up refrigerator poetry from your MAGA magnet set?
Biden White House. I don't know why this is such a big story. Well, those are the...
Because she's the first black woman to ever do the fucking job in the history of the United States. She's also the first out and open LGBT person to do that. That's why it's news. You fuck. The problem is, Greg, is that if you became, God forbid, White House spokesperson, it would not be news because there's a bunch of other douchebags just like you waiting in the wings to do it.
The factors right there. But there are other competent people, supremely competent people, who have had huge jobs in communications in the Trump administration and who, by the way, happen to be black women.
Right, but none of them were the spokesperson for the actual White House.
Like Dana White. Have you heard of Dana White? She was the press secretary in the Pentagon. That's one of the biggest spokesperson jobs in all of the world. The Pentagon, great big organization. She worked very closely, a top aide to Secretary of Defense Mattis. They traveled the world together. She was a...
Let's look for a moment past the all black women are interchangeable problem that Greg seems to have and go straight to it wasn't historic when she was. Others had been.
Trusted aide and lieutenant, and they traveled the world together. There she is at his side, and I think they flew on military planes.
It's almost like these pictures were taken and they were like they put these pans in for a documentary on like black women They're invading the place.
To Afghanistan, far off like that. But you never hear of Dana White. Why is that? Why is that? I don't know. You should. We should have. Is it because, I don't know.
I don't know. Is it because the Trump White House didn't want to bring her up, or she was great at that particular job, but they didn't want to move her over to the to interrupt the uninterrupted chain of blonde ladies in sleeveless dresses?
No, the mainstream media doesn't like Donald Trump. Is it because I don't think she's gay? Is it because
you don't think she is? Ask.
I don't know, but I think it's unfair. And take a look at her credentials. University of Chicago, language degree, speaks Mandarin, Chinese, and French.
Yeah, that's why it helped for her to be at the DoD. That's all of Africa and most of Asia.
Studied economics and business in Beijing, foreign studies in Seoul in South Korea. Press secretary for the Republican Conference on the House of Representatives, a staff member of the Armed Services Committee, advised John McCain back in 2008. These are serious.
I think I found the problem. She wasn't on Team Sarah Palin, was she?
Credentials, and her service should have been celebrated.
Why didn't you? Greg, what was stopping you from today we celebrate the black ones, part of the Trump staff and the administration that you as a Newsmax viewer might overlook? Today we're going to show you that there are some black ones. On today's The Black Ones. What the fuck? What are you talking about?
It won't be forgotten. It will not be forgotten. Well done, Dana White.
Yeah, now you give a shit? Why? Where was this applause when she actually fucking worked there?
All right. Also, we saw Joe Biden today struggling, hemming, hawing. He's in front of the nation's media. You can't see it, but there are like 100 or so reporters in the room. And what are they not asking about? They're not asking him about the laptop. The laptop.
There isn't one. No. You don't get to put a picture of a laptop that was released after the laptop that we're allegedly talking about. Wrong year, fucko. Those are USB-C ports.
That has now been verified.
No, it hasn't.
Joe Biden told us, everybody, that was Russia disinformation.
It is.
And he doesn't get asked about it.
Yeah, because everybody in that room who actually has access isn't a single note fuckhead who actually sniffs their own farts and thinks it's that soup's on.
And look at how he can control the conversation. He finishes up his phony baloney event about inflation. And then he can say, you can't ask me anything, only about what I just said, only about inflation. And it works.
You're going to ask me about what I spoke about.
If you're going to ask.
Yeah, because if you ask me what I spoke about, I'll try to stay on, because he's got to stay on topic. They're trying to limit the message because it's a domestic priority. You can't come up there and go, inflation's my #1 domestic priority, and then get me out on a diatribe about fucking infrastructure when we already passed the bill, or whether Build Back Better is going to go through, or whether Joe Manchin is going to upend the filibuster so that we can save Roe v. Wade. That's for another time. No, we made a graphic.
Ask me about what I spoke about. I'll answer your questions.
Right.
And they go along with it. I mean, is that how it works?
Well, no, some people didn't, and he just blew it off. He's like, ask me about inflation. That's his decision. It's his press conference.
I just saw the White House Correspondents' Dinner. They just told me that,
you saw it on TV. You weren't invited.
They'll search for the truth, and they'll find the lightness from the darkness, right? They love talking about how important they are and their job is. Just listen to them.
To gird our democracy, we reporters believe that in the United States, no man or woman who holds or seeks power is above being questioned. Our democracy depends on journalists shining light and truth upon darkness.
By the way, they're talking about the dead journalists at that point, too, which is why he's being somber about this issue.
And lies. and bringing accountability to officials at every level of our government.
Okay. Yeah, right. Yeah, right.
Yeah, right. Show me a picture of the laptop. I don't want to see another picture of Hunter from his hacked phone when it was in Ukraine that they put on the fake laptop and then sold. I want to see something I haven't seen. They've had this fucking thing for 2 years, this hard drive. Show me something I haven't seen. Anything. Anything I didn't see in the first fucking week.
But so pompous. They tell themselves these things. Joe Biden has not been asked about that. Serious lies all the time.
Whoa, what was that? What was that edit?
Tell themselves these things. Joe Biden has not been asked about that. Serious lies all the time.
What the fuck? Newsmax, what's up? What'd you cut out? I have some questions for Greg Kelly. Why is his YouTube editor having to cut out entire segments of his monologue or diatribe or dialogue? Monotribe? It's monotribe. That's what it is.
He also tells little...
It's a lonely man screaming into a camera that only I watch.
...lies that bother me. Now, when Joe says this, I actually don't believe him. Now, I could be wrong, but...
You are.
What do you think?
I'll never forget getting knocked out when I was in 5th grade, and my dad walking out and said, "Get up, get up, get up. Unless something's broken, get up." Well, I think that's what sports tell you. You just get up. You get up. But my dad would say, every time you get knocked down, just get up, Joey, get up. My dad said just one thing. When you get knocked down, get up. Just get up.
Yeah. That sounds like... Why don't you believe that? That sounds like something an Irish dad would say when you get the shit kicked out of you or you get knocked over in a game. And he's obviously talking about, they're cutting around this, but he's talking about playing sports, physical sports, more than likely football.
Get up.
I've heard that story before in a Cracker Jack box. Is that how Mr. Joe Biden Sr. said it? That sounds kind of nasty. How about, are you okay, Joe?
Jesus Christ. You're worried about how a dad talks to his fucking kid, and you start your show off quoting Donald Trump, who fucking slugged Don Jr. for not wearing a suit to a baseball game. Who never changed a diaper. This dude, after his wife and daughter were killed in a fucking car accident, took a train to work in D.C. and back every night so he could tuck his fucking kids into bed. The fuck are you talking about?
Are you okay, Joey? I don't know. Something tells me it's one of those tall tales that Joe tells about...
Nobody gives a fuck. Greg, this is gross. Nobody gives a fuck. Trump doesn't even dispute the story about him hitting Don Jr. for wearing wanting to wear a baseball jersey to a fucking New York Yankees game, I think it was. Jesus Christ. Yeah.
Everything. He tells serious lies. He tells little lies. That's who he is. And that's who he promised us he wouldn't be. And he did it in the most solemn, over-the-top way.
Again, what the fuck is this about? What about this story? What evidence do you have that this story, beyond being an anecdote, isn't true? And this is the assertion you're making that he violated the public trust because he tells a story about when he was playing sports when he was a kid and his dad went, "Get up, Joey. Get up. Just get up. It's okay to get knocked down. Just get up."
Everything he said he would be and do, he's failed at.
No, actually. Infrastructure bill, rescue package. We're out of Afghanistan. I don't know if you noticed that. There's quite a lot checking off on that. And by the way, NATO and our allies, closer than ever. Standing in the world, kicking ass. AUKUS agreement.
My fellow Americans, I close the day where I began, with the sacred oath. Before God and all of you, I give you my word. I will always level with you. I will defend the Constitution. I'll defend our democracy. I'll defend America. And I will give all all of you, keep everything I do in your service, thinking not of power, but of possibilities, not of personal interest, but the public good. And together we shall write an American story of hope, not fear, of unity, not division, of light, not darkness, a story of decency.
Yeah, this was good. I like this.
And dignity, love and healing, greatness and goodness. May this be the story that guides us, the story that inspires us, and the story that tells ages yet to come that we answered the call of history. We met the moment. Democracy and hope, truth and justice did not die on our watch, but thrived. That America secured liberty at home and stood once again as a beacon to the world.
By any
stretch,
is he meeting the moment?
Yes. Yeah. Instead of threatening the president of Ukraine and denying him javelins that the Congress had already passed a bill to give him by delaying them to the absolute last fucking second, he is shoring up NATO, improving our relationships, and backing Ukraine in their fight for their democracy and sovereignty. Of course he fucking is.
Are we a beacon for democracy?
Yes.
So what happened overseas?
What? You saw what happened overseas? What happened overseas?
Is he leveling with the American people?
Wait a minute. What the fuck happened overseas? You mean what's still happening? What do you mean? Macron beating Le Pen?
His solemn promise to level with us? Of course not. He is failing in every way.
No. No, not by any measure. And by the way, if you want double-digit unemployment, for example, maybe that's how you would think. If you want the deficit to go up instead of down, that's what you would think. If you want Russia to be able to take Ukraine, dig as many mass graves as they want, carpet bomb the fuck out of the place with no recourse, and the Ukrainians have no ability to fight back, then maybe you would think that way. If you want to make sure that no one like Justice Jackson gets on the court, which, judging from the beginning of this video, might be concerning to someone like Greg, then yeah, you would think Joe Biden is a fucking failure because he is succeeding at what we voted for him to do. And he is the opposite of what you were hoping would happen to the fucking country and to Ukraine and to women and to regular working people as we reshore more factories now than at any time in America's history.
And some people are not afraid to call him out. Senator Rick Scott of Florida tweeted that given his condition, given his failings, he should resign.
I think that was because he said Rick Scott was from Wisconsin instead of Florida.
He was asked about it today. Joe Biden was.
And he said, I think that guy's got problems.
Major Republicans said.
Wait a minute. Wait a minute, Greg. He said, you can ask me about inflation if you want to. And, you know, if that's what you want to ask me what I was going to talk about, that earlier clip you showed. And you're like, he gets to dictate and the press, you know, who was all high and mighty. And then you're going to cut to the same fucking press conference where someone asked him about something else. And he answered.
You need to hand in your resignation, sir. Here's what happened.
You called out Rick Scott a little while ago in your remarks. Earlier today, anticipating your remarks, he said, and I'm just quoting here, that the best...
Anticipating your remarks. So.
Most effective thing Joe Biden can do to solve the inflation crisis he created is resign. He's the problem. The senator added later, Joe Biden is unwell, he's unfit for office, he's incoherent, incapacitated, and confused. These are his words. Offering him a chance to respond.
I think the man has a problem.
It's not a laughing matter.
Yeah, it is. Rick Scott is upset because he gets confused with Tim Scott all the time. And it might be because Tim Scott's black. And that upset Rick Scott a lot. And that would be the problem he's referring to.
Mr. President, not a laughing matter at all. Think about it.
That's the ending? Think about it. I do quite often, Greg. We think about it all the time. It never involves you, though. I hope you realize that in all of the important issues of the day, no one, and I mean no one, is wondering. I wonder what Greg Kelly's take on this is. If there, no one. Yeah, that was it. Think about it. All right, about which part? The part that you didn't give a shit about a black woman who served in the DOD as a spokesperson with Mad Dog Mattis, who, by the way, you and Trump both hate now. Until a black woman was put in a post and upset you, and then of course when she was yammered at by Burning Man Jesus and responded to it. And this is the thing, by the way, she's not so sweet and innocent. I think she's just sweet and innocent enough, kind of like Bricktop. All right, that's the end of that nonsense.